Welcome, I'm Ehabad, a free-to-play endgame player in Raid Shadow Legends. In today's video we're going to take a look at my typical CvC strategy. We will start the video the day before CvC and what preparation I would typically go through there, and work our way through each day of the CvC. I actually recorded the video that you'll be seeing and the data that we'll be analysing in the CvC 6 weeks ago. So the first thing I'd do is collect my arena and tag team arena tokens once there is sufficient overlap with the CvC. So you can see here we have 12 hours remaining, which means with a 24-hour cooldown, I have 12 hours after CvC starts within which to use my arena tokens. So once we have collected the arena tokens and the tag team arena tokens, and leaving any surplus energy we do not need to be claiming, such as the weekly and monthly rewards, we'll then go to the shop, the gem shop, and buy 2 tag team arena refills. The 15 and 40 gem refills are very good value for points per gem. And as a result, we'll end up with 3 tag team arena refills, 1 classic arena refill, and 1 5 token or half classic arena refill. The classic arena aren't actually worth that much, but if we can, we'll make use of them nonetheless. Then on the side of the forge, we'll make sure that we are fully prepared with our Magis steel to do a significant amount of forging, as that is a good area of getting points with minimal resource spend. In this instance, I had been farming Scarab Boss, so I will be focusing my rank and rarity charms on my untouchable gear, as that's the gear set that I'm trying to develop. And thereafter, I'll craft more perception resilience for points and to flesh out those gear sets as well. After that, I will check the Clan v Clan tournament schedule and see where the 2x bonus points are, and try and make sure that I have prepared myself to make use of those bonus points if possible. Typically, I will be farming Minotaur irrespective as to whether they are bonus points or not. As I do not gem any masteries, I instead choose to spend gems on energy and run Minotaur during CvC, so at least I'm getting some additional CvC points for my gem usage that I would otherwise have to be using anyway to master my champions, if that makes sense. Thereafter, the most efficient areas to gain CvC points for energy spend come from Fire Knight and Spider 25. Typically, endgame players will farm Spider because it is a faster run. One last consideration to have is every so often, Plarium will also put an additional special tournament running during CvC, and it's worth considering whether that falls in either, say, Spider or Fire Knight, where you would be choosing to, use your excess energy or even gem some energy refills for additional points. If you can double dip and get some additional tournament rewards by doing that, then obviously we will further optimize our resource usage by ensuring that we are double dipping. On to the next morning, before CvC begins, we are able to run our remaining clan boss keys, as these will immediately translate into CvC points once we collect the chests. I currently will clear everything from hard through to Ultra Nightmare. That will give me 2 chests on hard, 2 chests on brutal, 2 chests on nightmare, and 2 chests on Ultra Nightmare. We'll review the amount of points that I get through Clan Boss when we look at the data later in the video. Beyond that, I ensure that I do not use any tag team arena tokens, and that I will start CvC with as close to 10 tokens as possible on the classic arena side, and that I do not use any of the daily refills in either classic arena, or energy. Equally, I will ensure that I do not run any faction war keys. Silver keys, however, in Doom Tower, we can make use of before CvC starts, as these do not accrue any points. However, we will need to be cognizant of using that day's golden keys in case the floors contain energy we wish to use in CvC. With that in mind, we'll then run all of our silver keys before CvC starts, as it is more efficient in terms of our time usage during CvC. Again, as these do not score any points, it's better if we have these out of the way so they're not wasting our time once CvC has begun. So once we're into CvC, the things to consider is you always need to be doing your clan boss keys, you always need to be running your faction crypts at the highest stage you can, ideally farming stage 21s. Use all your tag team arena tokens and your arena tokens, and continue to buy those tag team arena refills, at least 2 refills a day, in total spending 55 gems per day. Make sure you are booking and ascending the champions you wish to develop, especially legendary champions, as these provide a lot of points. Do all your crafting in the forge, again using your rank and rarity charms, as these do give more points. Make sure you're using your glyphs to enhance your gear. Both 5-star and 6-star glyphs especially provide good points. And develop your Great Hall with your arena tokens that you have been earning throughout the prior 2 weeks. Particularly levels 8, 9 and 10 are worth a lot of points. And then lastly, farm Minotaur for scrolls with gems if you'd intended on spending the gems on masteries anyway. If possible, I would roll gear, particularly if it overlaps with an artifact event. I would also rank up champions if this overlaps with champion training. Especially the 5-star and 6-star rank ups are worth a lot of CvC points. On the last morning, I would also do as much arena as you can, really focusing on tag team arena of the final day's resets, again including shop purchases if possible. Right then, let's take a look at the data. What I have done here is recorded every single action that I took during this specific CvC and the amount of points that I accrued by doing so. So I've broken down every single point that I scored by area, by action. Now, whilst I won't do the exact same thing in every CvC, as it will depend where the bonuses are allocated and what events and tournaments are overlapping, this is still a fairly representative example of what a typical CvC might look like for me and how I will score the points that I do on a consistent basis in an efficient manner. So first and foremost, you can see we scored nearly 330,000 points in this specific CvC, with the majority of our points coming from Arena, books getting a decent number of 46,000 points, various gear-related points contributing another 70,000 points between forging, glyphing, and ranking up artifacts. Faction Wars comes in with the 25,000 points, then various dungeon running, a combination of Minotaur and in this instance Dragon, got us another roughly 45,000 points, with champion training, Great Hall, champion ascension, clan boss, and a bit of campaign, rounding out the rest of the points being scored. Right, so if we break down that score by area and look really down into the sub area, you can see that the majority of our arena based points came from Tag Team Arena. We fought 110 battles and got just shy of 86,000 points. Now I am in Gold 4, so obviously I am getting a higher points per battle than you would be in lower ranks. But that said, I have done the comparison, and I will share that later in the video, that even if you're in a lower tier, you still get excellent points per battle or per gold bar. Even if you're in a lower tier, it's still well worth running. It's still the best points per gem spent in terms of CvC points. You can see in the booking side of things, we used 12 legendary books. Essentially, I booked out 1 legendary champion for use in Hydra, and then I supplemented that with some rare books to book out another 1 or 2 rare champions, which I think I intended to use in some budget content. I have not used any epic books in this particular CvC, so I can make use of those in another. Like I've mentioned previously, it's all about sustainability for me. So as long as I'm not using more books in total than I am earning on a monthly basis between the 2 CvCs each month, then I'm okay. In terms of the gear, we ranked up predominantly 6-star artifacts, as that's where the majority of the CvC points are to be had. It's not worth ranking up the 5-star artifacts during CvC. On the Forge side of things, we get much more points for the 6-star artifacts, and that's why the rank and rarity charms come in handy. And we get a good number of points there, particularly if there is a nice bonus, but I would be doing it even if there wasn't bonus points to be had. It's a great source of silver, it's free points, and you want to be using the Forge to continue to develop the gear on your account. I am farming stage 21 of Faction Wars, and that nets me another 24,000 points each CvC. There's only one faction that I can't currently auto on stage 21, that is Night Revenants, which I will look to address in due course. Then, as I mentioned, Minotaur, I would be doing it either way, but in this instance there was a bonus 10,000 points to be had, so it was very efficient for me there. In this particular CvC, however, what was not efficient was Dragon. There was a Dragon tournament, so it did make sense for me to focus my attention there, but Dragon 25 scores you half the number of points that Spider or Fire Knight would score for the same energy spend. So I would have got considerably more, in fact double. So I got lost out on 22,000 points by not having done any of the other dungeons, be it Ice Golem, Spider or Fire Knight. Then, as I mentioned as well, champion training gets you a few extra points. It's well worth doing if you can overlap an event with a CvC. And then lastly, your ascensions, particularly on legendaries, should always be saved for CvC if you can. It is worth a lot of points. In this instance, I ascended 2 legendary champions fully, and that netted me 4,400 points per legendary. So it's well worth doing. You can see here on the clan boss side of things, it's not a lot of points that you get, but if you are farming Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare, you will pick up another 5,500 points, so it is well worth doing. And then in this particular CvC, I spent 975 gems. So it's kind of when I tend to utilize my gem stockpile. I don't always spend as many as 1,000 gems. It very much depends what I need to do in a given CvC. Because this one was during the Gaius fragment fusion, and I had to spread my resources between Minotaur and Dragon and champion training via campaign, which you can see I also did some points there. There were 3 areas of energy usage that I wanted to make use of in that specific CvC, so using some gems made sense. I have a feeling I also actually spent those gems on expanding my champion roster, but it was a few weeks ago, as I mentioned, so I'm a bit fuzzy on that, but I'm pretty sure I did. Right, lastly, as I mentioned, here's a comparison depending on what tier you are in. As I said, I did 110 fights, and that got me 85,800 points. If I'd been in a lower tier, I would have got less points, but as you can see, there's still good points to be had throughout all of silver and gold, particularly if you can push yourself up to around silver 4 or above. You will get considerably more points than if you are below those thresholds, but it is worth doing nonetheless. The points to be had are good, and it doesn't take that long farming single man defenses to win all your battles. Right, I would say that is pretty much it. I think I've covered a lot of what I do within CvC, about how I try and analyze what events and tournaments are overlapping, what bonus points there are to be had, and how I save resources in between each CvCs and utilize them at those opportune moments to maximize my points, and how I'm able to score between 330 to say 400,000 each and every CvC. Right, the last area that I didn't mention that also nets you a lot of CvC points is summoning a past fragment fusion, particularly on the legendary side. So if it's a new legendary, you will get 30,000 points in total, 10,000 for the legendary and 20,000 for the first time you've pulled it. So if you are able to save the fragment fusion to coincide with the CvC and you want those additional points in that specific CvC, then it's well worth pulling the fragment fusion during that time, as it nets you a lot of points. For instance, I intend on pulling Bivald in the CvC starting tomorrow. So hopefully that will help you in your quest to get your CvC points done each and every time. I myself am in a tier 6 clan, and the milestone rewards I think are well worth getting. We need 5.4 million as a clan to reach milestone 10. And you can see that the rewards we get for doing so are actually fairly decent. We get 3 void shards and a legendary book and some 6-star legendary gear, all of which is good to get. Bit of clan gold, bit of clan XP. I'm not so concerned about whether we will win the CvC, as you know, we all know that it's a fairly toxic, cancerous game mode, but even just getting milestone 10 each and every time gets you a nice little additional return on resources that you would otherwise be using anyway. We haven't had to spend too much resources that we didn't otherwise want to make use of. So once again, thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. Any feedback is always welcome. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.